So the Golden State Warriors, as well as Kevin Durant with his late three-pointer, have broken the hearts of the Cavaliers, as well as NBA fans who wanted a competitive NBA Finals. They're up 3-0, and I think it's safe to assume the Cavaliers are not going to win this series. So as a result, let's just start talking about the offseason, because, I don't know, that just makes sense to me. Now let's just talk about the Cavs. Is there a way that they could actually improve themselves to the point where they could get up to the Warriors' level? It's a pretty tall task. And let me start this whole thing with the idea of them trading for a big star, because that's one thing I've seen, like, will they trade Kevin Love for Paul George or something like that. That's what I've seen a lot of on Twitter. Here's a newsflash for you. Kevin Love is 28 years old. The Cavaliers cannot offer the Indiana Pacers any first-round picks that are going to be anywhere close to the lottery. Why the hell would the Indiana Pacers ever make that trade? If they swap Paul George for Kevin Love, they're in the exact same position that they're in right now. If I'm trading Paul George, I want young players, I want first-round picks, I want assets that I can be excited about for the future. I don't want Kevin freaking Love. So I don't see how that trade happens. I saw some people on Twitter suggesting, hope that Dwayne Wade leaves and he'll sign with you. What the hell's Dwayne Wade going to do against the Warriors? That guy can't play defense anymore. To be honest with you, the two trade pieces I see on this team, one of them's Kyrie Irving, which I highly doubt they would move him because they really need his creating ability. The other one's Tristan Thompson, and this is the tough one to me. Are we so desperate to beat the Warriors that you would trade a guy like Tristan Thompson, who's your best role player and who has been great for you in running through the Eastern Conference, because he didn't have a good series against the Warriors? I mean, Kevin Love was their best big man. He was actually pretty productive on both sides of the floor, Kevin Love. Tristan Thompson was not. And if you put Thompson on the trade market, given what he can do at age 26, making $15 million right now, a lot of teams would be willing to offer you something for him, and I think you might be able to get yourself a quality defensive wing player who also has some offensive abilities, which is kind of crazy to think that someone would trade that sort of a guy for a center in today's NBA, but given how good Thompson is defensively, you could actually get something for that. Do you do it? I don't know. That's a tough one, man. Because, like, Thompson's been really good for them, but I don't know, if the right offer comes around, maybe, then your next step would be you'd probably have to still buy out Channing Frye, and then you would hopefully be able to get, like, Dwayne Dedmon in free agency, which I think he's going to go for more than $8 million, but I don't know, maybe a really good defensive, three-point shooting, offensive stuff wing in exchange for Tristan Thompson, and then Dwayne Dedmon as your center. I mean, I don't know. But even then, that's still a big risk. If there are any other trade pieces, I mean, Iman Shumpert could probably draw interest from other teams, but I think Shump just might be more valuable for them. Like, he's one of their only guards who can actually play some defense. The roster flexibility they have a little bit. They don't have all the options in the world. I think some of their improvements are just going to have to come internally. First and foremost, if you've watched some of these finals, you'll notice that there are times when their offense does not have the best spacing. That last play where Kyrie Irving took the step back against Klay Thompson, the Warriors' defense had a lot of luxury there because it was like J.R. Smith as well as LeBron James were standing too far behind the three-point line to the point where the Warriors didn't totally have to worry about them. So Kyrie didn't just have all the driving lanes in the world. And their offense can be pretty basic at times in terms of LeBron James or Kyrie Irving just running a pick and roll and getting a switch and then going against that guy or doing isolations or a Kevin Love post-up. You could have your just offensive schemes be a bit more detailed, some more off-ball movement, especially for LeBron James, perhaps LeBron doing more screening as well, making yourself just more difficult to defend. I think they can get by the Eastern Conference with their basic style. The Golden State Warriors are a different thing, though. Also, we can talk about the defense, because I think their lackadaisical style for that side of the floor this entire season really hurt them against Golden State, because it's tough to really flip that switch. You might be able to do it against the Boston Celtics. The Warriors are a whole different thing. Interestingly, this season, the Cavaliers were 21st in defensive rating. Last season, they were actually 10th. And the personnel is pretty similar. They lost Dellavedova. He's a nice defensive player. I don't think he's that good to where you drop 11 spots defensively. Simply being better and more focused on that side of the floor is one thing, but interestingly, their pace really changed this season. Last year, the Cavaliers were actually one of the slower teams in the NBA, and their defense was 10th overall. This season, they were around mid-tier in terms of pace, and their defense sucked, as we know. Is there a direct correlation? Maybe, maybe not, but that might just be some adjustments they can make for next season. But now we can talk about personnel moves. It's not really that pretty. They're definitely built to win right now, and, well, we all know what just happened. Their salary for 2018 is $129 million. Which is over the luxury tax, which means you really can't do too much. The one obvious move I see that they can make is you buy out Channing Frye, and that can hopefully get you under the luxury tax of 2018, which I believe is $124 million. And actually, no, I was wrong. In 2018, the luxury tax is $121 million. So not only are you going to have to buy out Channing Frye, but I think you'd have to find some way of getting like Eddie Tavares off of your payroll. According to Basketball Reference, Larry Sanders is still getting paid by them. He'll get paid $1.8 million next season. I don't know if that's entirely accurate. There might be some way that they can get him off their salary as well. They just have to squeak under the luxury tax to get that full mid-level, which is about $8 million. On a free agent that can hopefully play some defense against Golden State. The guy that I immediately see is Patrick Patterson for them. He shot 37% from 3 this year at the power forward position, still can play defense. He's only going to be 28 years old next year, so you expect him to be ready to go. I could see him playing 25 minutes a game for them in a series against the Warriors, and he also gives you some decent versatility because you can play him with Kevin Love or with Tristan Thompson. And then, of course, three-point shooter and all that. So that's like one guy they could use. The other two guys who stand out to me would be either Cephalosha, who's still a really good defender on the wing. Shot 34% from 3 this year, so he could be a three-point shooter for you. That one's a little up in the air, but defensively he can definitely hang around against the Warriors. And then the other one is PJ Tucker, who they probably should have traded their first-round pick to get. They traded it to get Kyle Korver, which, their problem was defense against the Warriors, so there's that one for you. And I think that's the biggest thing moving forward, is that the Cavaliers, every type of move they make needs to be under the assumption of, can you help us against the Warriors? Which is kind of a crazy situation to be in. As far as other things they should do for this free agency, I think you got to let Kyle Korver walk, because if you re-sign him, you're probably not going to have a chance to get that defensive free agent. It sucks because you gave up your 2019 first to get Korver, but you kind of just have to bite the bullet. Potentially you could re-sign him, but I just don't think that he makes that big of an impact for you against Golden State. Also, you have to give Kay Felder a chance at the backup point guard position, because it's just the way your salary is going to work. If there's another buyout point guard later in the season next year, then okay, you go for it, but you're going to have to see if he can actually run your team when Kyrie Irving is not in the game. Based on his first season, he wasn't very good. They're in a really tough spot, man. Like I said before, they're built to win right now, but they can't beat the Warriors. They're going to have to find some diamonds in the rough. They don't have many first-round picks going forward, so they're going to have to do a pretty damn good job of just little moves here and there that can hopefully build you up. And then internal improvement, game plan improvements, caring more about defense. If an opportunistic trade comes around, jump on it, and you just go from there.